Hey everybody, Coach here. Do not misinterpret the sunshine that you see here as something of warmth. Ha! We have found ourselves a cold snap up here in Illinois, but that's not what we're talking about this week. We are talking about climbing that hill, climbing that proverbial landscape project hill. I am really glad you were with me. You're gonna learn something today, so stick through the entire video for me. All right, let's get going. Hey, you know something? I don't know about you guys, but the 60 plus years I've been allowed to be on this planet, I kind of learned, or I kind of subscribe, shall I say, to a thought process that if you have a little more knowledge about something, if you know more about it, it is generally always easier, even if you're doing it for the first time, because you don't have that fear of the unknown. You know what to expect. You know when you don't do it right the first time, it's okay because you knew that going in. That's why we're talking about climbing that landscape hill. You know, as a kid, we oftentimes
rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
You know, stumble, bumble, and fumble our way through childhood with parents' guidance and mentors and other stuff. And we make our mistakes, especially at first time type of things, like walking, like talking, like addition and subtraction. We make our bumbles and fumbles. Well, the same thing goes for landscape projects. People who do not get educated first, people who do not have any sort of intuition on what it takes, oftentimes stumble, bumble, and fumble, and at least half of you out there give up halfway through the project because they just, this is not for me, I don't know what the F I'm doing, and they move on to something else or they come hire somebody like Coach, one or the other. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be very, very easy if you take a few extra minutes, and that's what I want to clue you in on here today. As we get older and we enter adulthood, we kind of master life's daily challenges. Things like getting up, taking a shower, putting clothes on, putting something in your pie hole, and making your day towards work, and then doing the job right. Why? It's because you've been taught. You've been taught what to do at work. You've been taught what to do at home. Hopefully we get life right. And with all that, we get a sense of confidence that comes over us to where we carry ourselves with a confident air about us most of the time, and we don't make mistakes all the time, and things are easy. Now you're a homeowner. Now you're looking out that back window, maybe from the comfort of your couch that you've earned and bought and put in your own home. And you're looking at that backyard and you're going, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. And you go to the checkbook and you look at the checkbook, you're going, well, I ain't gonna be hiring Coach to do this. I guess I gotta do it myself. So what do I need to do? What's it gonna be like? That yard's pretty good size. Well, here we go. You know, over the past couple of years, I've laid out landscape projects and all the step-by-steps that go with such a project so that you can really understand it. The only thing that you don't get is you don't actually get what it's like going into it. Man, you've done all your brainiac work, you've done a design, you've got a schedule and a budget, you've done all this, but you haven't put a shovel in the ground yet. You haven't done it in a 90-degree day with 90% humidity. You haven't done it just by yourself. And with that, you can have it all up here, but man, if you're not in landscape shape, if you're not aware of what's coming down the pike at you as far as the size of a project and the physical exertion that you're gonna go through to accomplish this task, even with all that education, even with all the knowledge that you've had going into this, man, I'm telling you, a lot of people are still gonna give up. Okay, so here's some of the hill. Here's some of the things that you're gonna have to expect. Kind of follow along, take some notes, or watch it more than once. That way, when you hit that wall, that proverbial, I don't know if I can do this, wall, you'll know that you can push through it. Move that wall out of the way and continue on. You know, if you look at it from a sense of topography, all that brainiac work that I've mentioned over many, many videos, kind of picture that as the flat tabletop mesa of the project. You're not having to break a sweat. You're not going to get bloody hands or blisters on your palms. You're not going to get that. But when you start down this project, from day one is when we go from that nice, easy, flat plane to where we start climbing the hill. And the hill is not a gentle slope. I'm just going to forewarn you, it's not a gentle slope. It goes from flat as asphalt to here. And if you don't do anything, when you start your demolition project, and we're going to assume that you're going to do a landscape makeover, not just a brand new backyard at a brand new house. When you start up that hill, load up as much help as you can, manage right on that day one and day two, where you're taking out whatever it is, taking out lawns and shrubs, small trees, patios, walkways, whatever it is you're going to do, you are doing it on day one. So if you can manage 10 people and still get the job done, because sometimes too many hands in the kitchen, you just don't get the pie done. But if you can manage them and keep them going and steady, you will find on that day one, there are going to be some people that are not going to stick with you all 8 hours or 10 hours, whatever you end up doing. Even if you feed them and water them, they're going to go, wow, boy, it's soccer practice for the kids. We got to get going. Yo, honey, I got to get dinner started. But geez, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I know, but we got a lot of people to feed. See you later. You'll find that. And if you expect that and know it ahead of time, you won't get frustrated, you won't get mad, you won't get disappointed, and just keep pushing. Keep pushing through that day one. Make sure that you have all the things that you need on day one there at your property. You got a dumpster, you got a dump trailer, you got multiple pickups, you got tools and everything you need. You don't want to get 30 minutes into it and go, hey, what did I do with that jackhammer I was going to rent? No, think it out. Think it out and have it ready to go on day one. You'll be surprised. You really will be surprised at the end of day one if it goes smoothly for you. A whole nother tier of confidence will come over you. It really will. But we are climbing that hill still. Now, if you're a DIYer, chances are you're pulling down 40 hours a week in a full-time career. So maybe you've taken a few days off, maybe you have not. But if you can, that first weekend, 2 days, 8 hours a day, maybe you'll get all of that demolition done and in the dumpster or hauled to the dump. Think of this as a huge leg up and a huge advantage, because many people don't really understand the physical exertion that's going to come from demolition day. You're still climbing that hill. Our next step after you've done all your demolition, you've raked your site clean, you're back down to that blank canvas of which you're going to start building again. Your next task going up this hill is going to be your groundwork, your soil amending, your underground work with trenching and other stuff. Ain't nothing like a Saturday morning riding a rototiller wrestling contest. That is a fun thing. And if you're not in shape, if you don't prepare yourself a little bit with some stretching, maybe a little bit of exercise a couple days before so you can kind of limber up, yep, rototiller wrestling is a great event. It really is. Make sure that you go with a rear tine tiller and not a front tine tiller, especially if you have harder soils. Keep in mind, the larger your project, the steeper that hill is going to be. It may even be a small mountain. But don't get dissuaded by the minutia. Think of just getting to the end of this particular phase. You don't have to think about anything else. Remember to have those tools there ahead of time, like a rototiller. Get it Friday night on the way home from work. Tell them you're going to have it all day Saturday. Make sure that you have that compost or whatever you got delivered, so that when you're ready, you get up at 7 a.m. on Saturday, you know what your task is, you got a little punch list on the fridge, and you're on it. The other thing to remember is there's kind of small hills within the big hill. And a lot of people go, oh, I'm done with demolition, I'm on to soil amending. But there's that little hill in there where all of a sudden you're having to wheelbarrow 5 yards of compost into the backyard area. And there's that time. It's just not jumping on the rototiller. You got to bring all that stuff back in. So you got wheelbarrow work. Do you have a proper scoop shovel and not just a little pointed shovel that's going to take you forever to do 5 yards of compost? So you can see you've kind of departed away from that nice flat plane of the work at the kitchen table or in your home office. You're on the hill now. And there's nothing worse than walking away right after demolition, because then what are you left with? If you take a few days break, or maybe you just go, oh my God, I can't do this again today, and you need some time to recover physically, don't take too long. Don't take too long away from that job. The reason being, momentum. Momentum will get you across the project finish line every single time. If you walk away and decide, next weekend I'm going to the football game, not in the middle of your project. You could have planned around that when you were doing your project planning and your scheduling. If you had tickets already, so be it. But if you haven't, you're doing it just to escape, then you're going to kill your momentum. And you're going to kill the momentum of others in the household and anybody who's kind of tied to you. Another tip is, in case you get kind of off the track, you feel like you've lost focus a little bit, make sure that you download and print out that 15-step that I give away right there on the website. That thing there will be a step-by-step of what you need to be doing from the beginning all the way through the end. And if you kind of go, should I go get a trencher or do I need a rototiller? If I do a trencher, then how long should I have it? And all of this is covered in the 15-step. So remember to take a look at that. So although demolition can put a hurting on and a beating down on a person, it really can. More hands make lighter work. But when you get off into the rototiller rodeo and the trencher and other stuff, you're going to find all new muscles that are going to be used. And then you have the cleaning and the groundwork that goes along with that. So you're still climbing that hill. You're still looking up at the summit. However, when you get done with the trenching and underground work, you will be able to see the summit anyway. You're not there yet. So you get all your underground work done. You got sleeving done. You got all those things that are necessary. Now we move on away from the groundwork and the underground work, and we go off to the flat work. And I don't mean the easy flat work that you did at the office table. I'm talking about flat work like forming, pouring, and grading for your new walkways, maybe a new patio, maybe a new shed pad, maybe doggo's area, whatever it might be. Now you have that to work with. When you get into concrete work, and if you're going to bring in people to maybe pour and finish it or help you or do it all, it's not that Saturday. You're not going to start making calls on Saturday saying, hey, can you come help pour and finish my new patio? This is something that was done weeks ago. Weeks ago back at the home office, on the phone, talking to concrete contractors and making sure that they can work you in, because it's very, very hard, if they call you back, to get people on a schedule on a short notice. It would be a miracle for you. So remember that. Okay, so let's assume that you're still climbing that hill. I assume that you found flat work done, and it's done. You've poured, you've stripped all your forms, you've cleaned up your site again, you've repainted your bed lines, you even did edging for your brand new lawn area, whatever it might be. You're still climbing the hill, but the summit is in sight now. Now actually comes the fun part for me, but it's not the easy part necessarily, and that's the planting. We're still going to be putting things in the ground, but sometimes, depending on what your soils are like, might be some of the hardest work in the whole project. There was many times when I was practicing that planting day was a multi-day affair, not because of just the numbers of plants that had to go in the ground, but the soil itself. I have been on excavators making holes. I have been on ride-on ditch witch trenchers making holes in rocky caliche soil. And it was an all-day event to put a half a dozen trees in. They were big trees, but the hole had to be big. We had to give it plenty of room. You see where I'm going. So, getting out there, another good time to have help on board is planting day. Get all your plants there a couple, 3 days beforehand. Make sure they're watered, maybe even a little bit of food to them. And then if you need to, pre-soak the locations of where your plants are gonna go. If it's dry and hard soil, you're doing yourself a hell of a favor if you pre-soak it a couple days in advance. Okay, plants are in the ground. You've watered them in. You've raked up all the mess and the clods. You've got your compost pile that you've used to plant all neatened up. You've kind of gone like this right now. Congratulations. You're at the summit of that landscape project hill. You can stand on top of it and look back all the work that you've done, and you can look forward to the downhill slide to the finish line. Congratulations. If you made it that far, you've done better than 90% of the DIYers. You can look back and see an actual professional job because you've really thought it out. Maybe you brought in some subs for some part of it, but you're still not quite done yet. Little bit of work, just not quite as hard as that hill climb. All right, so now we've got all our plants in, we've got everything cleaned up. Now you're gonna wanna complete your drip irrigation to all those plants because it's a very expensive investment, wasn't it? Plants are expensive. You wanna take care of them. Make sure that they're watered in no matter what time of year. You've got a good watering to them, you've checked them. Everything is drip irrigated now. Now we move on to the mulching of whatever kind of mulch you're gonna put down. Whether it be an organic mulch, whether it be a gravel over fabric, whatever you're gonna do. Now we have to do that. And there's that hill within a hill. It's just not saying, hey, we got a mulch. Now you got multiple wheelbarrows going with scoop shovels and multiple people bringing stuff back in, and you're mulching all the beds that are out there. And you're raking them out. You're getting them nice and level, making sure that nothing was disturbed while you did all this. And by the end of the day or the end of the weekend, depending on the size of your project, you can look back and see something almost across that finish line. Move on to some of your lighting detail maybe. Maybe some of the construction of your tough shed or your patio cover, your outdoor kitchen, whatever it might be. And you're moving forward towards the finish line. What is right before the finish line? What is the one that kind of tops it all off? To me, landscaping is much like painting the inside of a house and putting new carpet in. You don't put the new carpet in before you paint the walls. It's the other way around. Same thing in landscaping. You don't put the sod in and then start the concrete work. You don't put the new grass seed down and top dress it if you're still having to traipse across that area to finish off another side of the yard. Your sod and your seed lawns is the very last thing that you do. Get it in, have it installed, do the installation yourself, water it in really well, and making sure that it's ready to go, ready to sprout and spring up in a week or so. But stay off it, don't walk on it, because you're gonna end up putting divots in it and those divots will remain. There you go, the landscape hill. You've crossed that finish line. Look back on your journey. Hopefully you've kind of documented either in video or in pictures or whatever. It's something to remember. And the one thing about a DIY landscape project is that it immediately starts giving you a return on your investment. Many times, the medium-sized landscapes, if you're doing it yourself, say you threw out $7,000 to get it done yourself. The property value increase alone will likely, not always, but likely pay for itself in an equity boost. So think about that as well. You did it. You climbed that hill. It wasn't easy. Know that going in. It's not easy, but the amount of money that you save and the pride that you have will be paid off in one other way too. I have seen DIYers do their own landscapes. Those yards stay so nice for so long because they appreciated the value and the sweat equity that they put in it, rather than just writing a check to some Joe named Coach to put the landscape in. The value is not there mentally. The value is not there in their hearts. So you'll take care of it a lot better as well. Hey guys, that's what I have for you. That landscape project hill can be a sometimes, but it's easily climbed with support from family and friends, with education that you get here. So don't forget, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the website if you'd like some good reading and some good education from the ebook and the digital course. It's there every single time. Lastly, Coach could use a cup of coffee, so don't forget to check the link below. You want to get some value out of this? You learned something here today? Hey, treat me to a cup of joe. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. As always, to your landscape success, thanks for staying with me to the end, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.